things you really ever need a torque wrench for are wheels, diffs, and engines.
And for railing your mother.
I don't know how a torque wrench really helps with that, but okay.
Well, here we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGT. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
Mike's a fag.
That's rude.
It's true.
Alright guys, so it's March 8th today. I'm not extremely motivated this week. We did nothing last week.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a video coming out, but that's from 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, we didn't
do anything last week. The weather was crap. I was tired. Steven doesn't care about anything.
Pretty much.
So this week, we're going to start by taking it easy. We're going to do little jobs. I'm going to start by pulling the fan shroud out. And we're going to cut the shroud down to what we need to, because the retainers are part of the shroud for the rad. So we're going to cut it down to what we need to keep the rad in for the top and the bottom. We're going to remove the fan, but it won't be today because I got to steal some tools from work to do it. Steven and I are also going to start plumbing the tranny cooler lines and plumbing the fuel system. Actually plumbing it this time, not like we've been saying we were going to do for the last 3 freaking months. Other than that, we don't have a lot of plans. We may or may not start working on wiring, but I'm not making any promises because you know how we are when we say we're going to do something, we do something completely different. Speaking of doing something completely different, you can't see it, but we updated the list with the stuff we have to do for Steven's step side just to make it runnable, because at the end of the day, it'd be nice to take my Buick for Miles Mayhem, but it would cost me a lot less money if we take his truck. Plus his truck is bolt action, and there's just so much better. Especially, you know, pulling a trailer, it'll pull more trailer just because it has the weight and the suspension for it. Everybody expects us to bring back the junkyard Dodge.
Yeah.
So at the very least, on his truck, we have to do a clutch. Well, we have to at least inspect the clutch. We're pretty sure it's going to need a clutch. At least the pressure plate. The rest of it might be okay. We might be able to reuse his pressure plate, his old one. We're not sure. We don't recommend doing that, but we're cheap and dumb. So we got to put new perches on the axle and realign the drive shaft. Then we have to have a new drive shaft built and get a new yoke for the tranny. We may have a yoke. I have a spare 9-inch at Steven's parents' house. We might just steal the yoke from that if it'll fit the splines. Fuel pump. We're pretty sure it needs a fuel pump because it's been running like on the way home from Miles of Mayhem, and since then, the twice it's been driven since then, it has been running super lean.
And yeah, AFRs are not happy.
And like the auto tune can't put enough fuel to it, so we're pretty sure the fuel pump's on its way out. Which that fuel pump is 7 years old.
Yeah.
And it's spent a lot of time sitting with shitty old fuel in it, which is never good for him. So we might steal the fuel pump off the Buick and order a second one so that we have a spare. Because we're going to start, if this fuel pump that's on the Buick works good for it, we're going to start running it on everything if it supplies enough fuel. Yeah. Like the V12 Jag, his truck, this thing. When I put Sniper EFI or a cheap alternative to that on the Galaxy, that's the pump I want to run.
Hello, furnace.
Yeah, thank you for turning on furnace, that's helpful. Anyway, so fuel pump, and then also we're going to pull the transmission out. Well, we got to pull the tranny anyway, but we're going to probably at least put new seals in the tranny. It's probably fine, but we really got to inspect the output shaft, because I have a feeling when the drive shaft exploded on his truck, I have a feeling what happened is the yoke come off the output shaft 90% of the way when the suspension unloaded, and when it loaded back up, I have a feeling it kind of snubbed it and did this, so we just got to make sure the splines are okay on the tranny. We still haven't looked. It's been
August.
Yeah,
early August is when I did it.
7-8 months, and we still haven't looked at it. So, and then so we have that on our list as must-dos. And then there's road trip wants. Like we'd like to fully mount the console. It'd be nice if we had wipers. It'd be nice if we had defrost, and it would also be nice if it was quieter driving down the highway. So if we had like a quiet exhaust and a loud exhaust. Whether we put cutouts on it or what we do, we're not sure, but just to make it nicer to drive. That's the things right now so far for the road trip. Because like you can't have a conversation in the cab going down the highway.
No, I don't want to talk to you anyways.
Although now we might be able to if we got rid of the vibration because we had to go in 4th gear. If we could actually pull in 6th, maybe we could talk to each other, but something about stacks just makes you deaf.
We should probably actually on that list, we should probably put a tranny cap sensor because we're going to tow in 6th.
Yeah,
might be a good
6th.
thing to see what's going
even
on.
towing in 5th wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, it might be good to see what's going on in there.
Then we have things that would improve our racing. So like traction bars, whether we bought some or more likely just built our own traction bars, like Caltrac style. That would be sure nice. We need to do a proper drive shaft safety loop. I mean, they let us go with just bolting a chain on it last time, but we need a drive shaft safety loop. And then it'd be nice if we fully set up the 2-step, just so it's easier for him to launch proper every time. Because right now he has it to a wire he touches to a shifter. We need to probably put it to the clutch switch on a secondary switch.
Spoiler alert, that's my neutral safety switch as well.
Yeah, it's also his neutral safety switch. Because he had to hack it apart to do. It was terrible. Don't do what we do.
We were gonna have fun, but then the race people said no, we're shut down for the
Yeah.
day.
And then there's the stuff Steven wants to do to make more power.
That one's secret.
Twin
That's a
blowers.
secret.
Twin M90 blowers. It's not a secret.
It's gonna be greasy as shit.
Twin M90 blowers. We have to build the intake. We got to change the map sensor. There's a whole bunch of dyno tuning and stuff that we need to do if we're going to do it, because we don't know enough about tuning.
Megasquirt can self-tune.
Yeah, self-tune until it could self-tune if I was driving it, because I have this thing called mechanical sympathy, and if it makes noises, I let out. Steven, if it makes noises, just puts his foot farther into the floor.
Exactly. The louder the exhaust, I can't hear the noises. Problem solved. Who knows what's wrong with
Steven, and that's kind of why I don't want to do miles mayhem with my car, because you're not allowed to switch entrant. And Steven is entered as the racer. And if Steven races my car, you'll find rods coming out the fenders.
that? Hey, I promised him I wouldn't grenade it until the last day.
Yeah, and I still don't want it grenaded on the last day.
I don't know why. It's
So,
finish the race.
I mean, we're still going to try and do our best to have this ready for Miles of Mayhem, just in case.
Just in case we need it as a backup,
Or his dad needs it as a backup, because his dad is going into the Miles of Mayhem.
My dad's entered, and if he can't figure out what the heck
Or,
he's
hey,
running,
if someone at the Miles of Mayhem blows their car up on day 1, guess what, guys? Drive mine. I really don't care.
that would be greasy.
I mean, how much fun would that be? Just a perfect stranger running my car.
Yeah, he just grenades. It's like, well, here's some keys to this other unit.
Guys, we're just going to follow you the whole way? And if that's what we plan on doing, we might just drag it down to Medicine Hat.
Because we're going to take the flat deck anyways.
We're taking a flat deck down just in case we need it.
Taking a flat deck and my dad's diesel, so we have some way of getting home in case I may or probably will grenade my stepside.
So right now, plan is Buick. Keep working on the Buick, get it ready, get it running, get it so it's reliable. And if something happens where I can't afford to keep going on this, or where Steven can magically afford to work on his truck, we'll start working on Steven's truck. So that could be next week. We don't know yet. We'll see how things go. Because divorces ain't cheap. But, you know, it is what it is. So, we're going to get started on this bad boy. We've rambled on for far longer than any of you care to watch.
No, they've already shut off. Right?
Yeah, you guys shut off 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so we're done, so.
Oh, what's that? Barclay built? Oh, I'll shut that off.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, we're going to get started on this.
Well, that's a noise you always want to hear. Nothing here. Oh, yes.
You work with such great care and attention.
I do. It's a wonder that nothing of mine ever.
Are you a licensed professional?
For legal reasons, I probably shouldn't answer that.
What's your daytime job?
Not a mechanic. I don't want people to think I actually know what I'm doing.
licensed automotive mechanic?
I don't want people to realize I actually don't know what I'm doing.
I wouldn't worry. No one you work with watches our videos.
That's true.
Except for Trevor, and he knows your hat.
Oh yeah. I'm a friggin' mechanic. I hate these damn things. That's what I'm doing. Oh.
Or break it. Why did I let Steven do this?
Okay, what in God's name? Oh, you bastard.
Why?
I don't know. Let yourself that one, you dum-dum. Okay, I'm just gonna like completely break it now.
You are a mechanic.
You bargain.
You know, I went to school with you and I still don't know how you did it.
I know, right?
At least I was a nerd. What did you have going for you?
I was good in the shop. Because the Lord knows I didn't.
Blowing the instructor, you homo.
Because the Lord knows I didn't pay attention in class.
You didn't pay attention to it.
God no. Hey, you know what though? Say what you will, but at least I wasn't the nerd bringing friggin' textbooks to the bar.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Well, you know exactly what I'm talking about though.
Yeah, well, TJ was an idiot, so what's your point?
As he's watching the video.
He ain't watching it. You know who we are. He drove a Ford, and it wasn't even a good Ford. It was a 5.4.
But hey, he did the spark plugs, and guess what?
It was a 5-point Ford.
I gotta say, that man is the first guy I have ever seen in my life change spark plugs and break out the torque wrench to do it.
Oh, God.
Oh, your lower perches are here too.
I know.
Oh, you got, it's all.
We gotta cut this like that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's the only guy I've seen use a torque wrench on spark plugs. Like who in God's name does that?
Responsible people who do this job professionally.
Okay, calm down there, torque wrench Sally.
Lovely. Hey, we haven't had coolant everywhere in at least, a month.
This is what Mike looks like when he's fucking.
I am far too large to have that kind of speed, son.
But that's about the right length, ain't it?
Well, you know what?
No, it's a little long.
Hey, I was good enough for your mom last night.
Let's just destroy this whole thing.
Try to follow the lines, you dirty bastard.
I was literally starting on this line.
I know, I'm just telling you because I know who you are.
Little fucker.
Why are you using such a short fucking blade?
Because that's all that you had over
No,
there.
we got more than that.
I don't fucking know where they are. This is the only one I saw.
Why are you...
Let's get that.
It's a good thing I didn't care about the shroud.
I knew we were cutting it up, so I assumed you didn't.
But maybe I wanted to glue it back together later. It's going to be tougher the more pieces you put it in.
Well, that's your problem, not mine. This isn't really going to fucking help me at all. Just hold that.
Holding.
I was going to say
Just cut my fingers off.
Okay, it's not my hand, I don't care. Bastard shot some plastic at me.
Oh no.
I know, right?
Why do you just throw it on the ground? Because then I have to clean it up later. You're not saving work. You're just being a lazy cunt.
Just need it out of my way.
Yeah, well.
I want it on the freaking bench.
Oh, nice job.
There you go. You have one.
I have un. And it's gusseted. It's factory gusseted.
Mint. You have
With
strength.
the bolting hole.
God, this is just
I've heard of
terrible.
long caulking, but you're short caulking. Wow, you did so much nicer on this one.
Of course, I didn't have to do it with 5 freaking cuts.
So Steven just cut the top shroud in the bandsaw. Such a nicer cut. Why didn't we do that in the first place? Oh yeah, because the bandsaw has a tiny throat. Oh well.
I wasn't paying big throat bucks.
Big throat money.
Big throat money, boy.
No, we're good.
Hey, look at
How much
that.
more room we have now. So there you go.
It's almost like a good
If you're working on a 70s GM or 80s or whatever the fuck, like my Corvette also had a plastic shroud that held the rad. This, is it the strongest ever? Probably not. Worst case Ontario, put a plate of aluminum over it or build the thing out of aluminum or just get some corner perches off of like a square body Chevy. You're done.
But let's be real. Are we off-roading this thing? How much is a rad
At the
really
end of the
bouncing?
day, if it doesn't work, we'll fix it. It's a stock rad. Who cares?
I mean, hell, the rad and junkyard is held in with 2 pieces of junk steel on each side. Like
Okay, but that's steel, not plastic.
2 little tiny strips.
So next, we have the rad down here. And
Electric fan.
that's the electric fan that was on the Corvette's rad, and it fit the Corvette rad about the same, so it didn't fit. So we're gonna have to come up with a way to mount it proper, but I have an idea in my head, and we have scrap aluminum, so I think we can make it work. Alright, so it's now Friday morning. I got a half hour-ish before I gotta be to work. So I figured I'd stop by, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snag one of these turbos and take it to work with me, and then after work I gotta get some fittings for the supply, and I think I'm going to tap the drain holes if I can, so I can just thread in a pipe thread to AN fitting. Then I can make my drains. I have some nice Teflon lined steel braided high heat hose here I'm going to use for the oil supply. So for the supply, up on my pan up here, oh no, on my Corvette pan somewhere, I've got that cap that goes over the transmission, or the engine oil cooler lines right here. I'm going to drill a couple holes and tap them and put fittings into that to run for my supply. Now I should be able to go 1/8 inch pipe thread, and then I should be able to go to, like, I think this is a number 3 JIC would be how I would go, and then I'll use number 3 to, I think this is number 6 ORB, and I should be able to order up a couple fittings and get my supply lines all figured out for the turbos, and then I just need to get the front cover and everything back off, drill some holes in it, and build my drains. And then I also have to, next time we're here, bring, I've got a tool that goes on my air hammer to take off clutch fans. We'll take the clutch fan off the water pump. And then I had one more idea for my rad. I've got these old fans off like a 95 Dodge Neon. I'm wondering if I just build a little sheet metal shroud to go over top of this, and it can bolt right here and here on top and bottom. Then I can mount these fans to it, and they're nice low, well, this one's a little taller, but they're not very thick fans, but they should move easily enough air for this thing. So that'll take care of all of that. And then after that, I'll probably swap the injectors over from these rails. These injectors are the flex fuel injectors off that Avalanche. So I'll probably take them, decap them, and then swap them onto this intake so that I have the injectors all figured. And then I'm a couple fittings away from plumbing up the whole fuel system. Once I get the rad back in, I can plumb up the tranny coolers. So it's going to start coming together if we actually spend any time at the shop. We've been here one night this week and we did nothing. We came in, we ate pizza, fooled around with that radiator, and then called it a night. So haven't done much this week, but like I said, I'm going to try and get some stuff done at work today. I'll bring the camera and hopefully I can film some of it during my lunch, getting this all figured out and maybe figuring out the turbos. But anyway, I'm going to quick rip one off and I'll get back to you when I can.